Guess who's back?
Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be talking about some, I guess, crazy trade ideas with some recent news that came out regarding Russell Wilson. But before we do that, please subscribe to the channel. We produce Dallas Cowboys and NFL content. If you're into that kind of thing, hit the subscribe button. So this big piece of news comes out about Russell Wilson and got my gears turning. You've seen some of our Dak Prescott videos in the past. This is probably like blasphemy compared to but it got me thinking, and I at least wanted to entertain the idea and talk about it. So Russell Wilson, it came out 2 weeks ago, I believe. He was on the Dan Patrick show, and basically he's asking for more help. He doesn't want to take as many hits anymore, basically saying, hey, we need upgrades on the offensive line. 2 weeks later, now it's coming out that teams are calling the Seahawks, broaching them about trades. Another report comes out that Russell Wilson has not requested a trade, but if he were traded, he would waive his no-trade clause for a number of teams, including the Cowboys, which is who we're going to focus on for this video. I mean, there's other trade destinations and possibilities for him, but our primary focus is the Cowboys. Yeah. So, Russell Wilson, obviously a pretty good quarterback. You could argue definitely top 10.
Yes. Where
he falls in, possibly top 5, maybe. It depends if you want to go down it and, order them where you want. But with the Dallas Cowboys being one of his possibly desired destinations, that begs the question, what is it going to take? Obviously, the Cowboys are in their own quarterback predicament at the moment. So let's kind of just discuss what the deal would be, how would we do it if you would want to do it. I've thought about it since all this stuff, what I'll say is that I would consider it just because of the quality of the player. So all the other scenarios that fans and pundits have brought up are, well, you could just find another quarterback in the draft. No, you can't, because if you look back at the history of first-round quarterbacks, if you're going to be taking one in the first round, you don't tend to hit. You go into the Cowboys' history, they don't tend to hit. They get really, really lucky. Their last 2 franchise quarterbacks they've gotten in, and I'm including Dak Prescott in that, they got really, really lucky. So the draft has never been a viable option for me. Looking at other players, fans have asked for Andy Dalton, fans have asked for Cooper Rush, they'll take anybody but Dak, and that's how it's always going to be. So I don't really look at that as an option, but whenever Russell Wilson comes into play, now that's a quality player, so then I start considering it. But that's as far as I'm getting with it, because then you have to get into all the rest of it. As far as that goes, RJ, what were your first thoughts when you heard Dallas was possibly one of the teams that he was considering?
Well, I thought, first thing immediately that jumps to my mind is what's pros and cons. I think the pros of Dak far outweigh the pros of having Russell. As far as likability and everything that goes, they're pretty much the same. Being better, if you go on paper, they're right around the same. So why are you going to want to give up potential draft picks when you're pretty much, you have the quarterback that you want? The main thing for me also was too that outweighed Dak's side as opposed to Russell is younger. You're going to reach a long-term contract here sooner, and Russell's contract is going to be going away sooner in 2024. You're going to have to re-sign him, so you're going to have to reset the market. Basically, he's probably going to be the quarterback that resets the market again at that age, which would be at around 34. And Dak is what, 28 right now? 27. So
yeah, they're 5 years.
So that alone, those 2 factors alone, just kind of like, why am I gonna bother? It's almost like, man, it's almost. I'm trying to do it with something with shopping, but it's really, it's just like shopping. Like, why am I gonna?
Well, it's like whenever you have a 2020 and there's like a 2018 that's fully loaded, whatever, and then you're gonna have to get a new something like that. When you're shopping for a vehicle, toy or something, but that's always been the case.
But then when you look at having to refinance. The deal, there you go. The deal is gonna get. Yeah, that's exactly what it's like.
There's always gonna be the shiny new thing that you want, but just like with vehicles, you run into problems. And another part of why I'm considering it, hardcore Dak fan. I'm on his side. I want him to be the quarterback. The only reason I'm considering this is because he still hasn't been signed yet. I'm not saying that that's anyone's fault but the Cowboys, but it just, in my mind, it says, okay, so how committed are they to him really? Are they considering other options? Because if they are, seems like the only viable other option to me. To me as a fan, if I'm going to be on board with anything, which I don't even know if I would be on board on it. I'd probably still follow Dak, as I said before, to the other team. But this is the only one-for-one player-wise, because that's not how it's going to be in the deal-wise, one-for-one player-wise that I would even consider and be like, okay, well, maybe I can see the reasoning behind it. But going into the numbers of it, then it gets even more steep. So, Dak, you could have him on a brand new contract that, let's just say it's $40 million per year for 4 years. Let's say that's what he's looking for, right? So you're going to be looking at cap hits of around, if you average it out over the 4 years, $40 million per year. Yes, they can maneuver and make it less in 1 year and all that, and higher in others, but let's just say it's going to be 40 per. So if you trade for Russell, his cap hit this first year is going to be $32 million. He's only going to have 3 more years remaining on his contract, where with Dak you're going to get 4. It's going to be 32, 37, and 40. So it's going to get back up to what Dak wants. But he's probably going to want a new deal, as RJ said, before those 3 years are up. So you're going to have to pay him even more than that 40. And by the time we get 3 years from now, if Dak's pulling 40, what's Russell going to want in 3 years? 45, 50?
47, 50, yeah.
It could be even higher. Not only that, if you go into a trade with the Seahawks are going to be taking on a $39 million cap hit. So they're going to be looking for a big return in picks in addition to a player like Dak Prescott. So you're going to have to give up Dak plus, let's just say at a minimum, a first-round draft pick. It's probably going to be a lot more than that. A lot more than that. Multiple first-round draft picks. But let's just leave it at a base of you're giving up Dak, you're giving up a first-round draft pick for the rights to Russell Wilson. I would much rather have Dak Prescott and a first-round draft pick with the state of this team currently than just Russell Wilson, because I know that there's so many holes on this defense that need to be fixed. That you can't sacrifice that opportunity to take a young player that you're going to have for 5 years on your team at a very low rate, and then that goes into the quality of player. As RJ said before, if you look at them as they are very, very similar. If you look at their career trajectory, Russell is 5 years ahead of Dak, but Dak, I feel like, is right there with him, and he's got 5 more years to grow into a player. And you're already 5 years into developing him with the Cowboys. Why would you want to turn away from that? I just don't. Once you put in all the factors, it doesn't add up to me.
I said it yesterday, and I'll say it again. At this point in his career, Dak is further along than Russell was.
Yes.
Because at one point we were thinking, we'd say that, man, after the Legion of Boom got disassembled, what has Russell done that Dak hasn't done? Beat a Philadelphia team in the playoffs that wasn't very good, and beat who was the other team? Oh my gosh.
Well, they lost to the Rams this year.
Yeah, but they beat Philadelphia that 1 year, which was horrendous, and then they beat, can't remember who the other team was, but it wasn't a very good team at all in the playoffs, and that's been it. That's been their only 2 playoff wins since then. So, what exactly are you upgrading to?
And if you just want to look at 2020 as a snapshot, and then in really these last 3 years of Russell Wilson's career, he's a very, very hot and a very, very cold player. He'll start off blazing hot, and then something happens along the season, and he just kind of levels out.
Yeah.
Could that do with his protection? Could that do with some other things, play calling? Possibly. But if you look at the trends, Russell is the consistent factor in there. So, I don't know. Dak, I feel like it will. If you don't think he is a better player today, which I think he is a better player today than Russell Wilson is right now, he will be a better player than Russell Wilson is right now as time goes on. Mm-hmm. And the leadership void that would leave with him going, it's not an easy one-for-one switch. He's cultivated his spot on this team. Everybody's bought into him. With the injury, through everything over the years, from being a 4th-round pick that supplanted a long-term, icon of the franchise and gained the respect of the veteran locker room, where they basically chose him over the vet. Like, these are all things that he was able to accomplish because of the person that he is. And you don't replace a player like that with just anybody. It doesn't add up to me, but like I said, you got to consider it. I think if the Cowboys just got to get the deal done as soon as, because until they get the deal done, all this stuff is still going to be out there for you to consider and get the gears turning. And I mean, honestly, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised with anything that happens, because they've had so many opportunities to get it done that now they're just, they're inflicting their own wounds multiple times against themselves. So I think we would both prefer if they just signed Dak and got it done, but
there's a lot more pros to signing Dak than there is cons as far as waiting until all the deadline, which is, I'm pretty sure, July 15th.
Yeah.
As far as, yes, negotiating a long-term deal. Yeah.
But I think that pretty much covers everything for us. At the end of the day, it boils down to sign Dak again. I don't think that's surprising to anybody who's watched our other Dak videos, but it is really that simple. But something as simple as that has not gotten done so far, so it makes everything complicated. But we appreciate you watching this video. If you have not already, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment. We will see you next time.
Yo, I ain't here for the money, I ain't here for the fame. Though it might be nice to own a jet plane, I'ma do it all for you. Come along and see it's true, but the world is pretty